Hey guys, this is Locke. In today's video, I'm going to be comparing the Warrior of Light with his new X job that is going to be released tomorrow compared to King Mont. So first of all, let's go over the Warrior of Light's X job skills. Like, what does he get? So first of all, he gets an upgrade to the Breath of Life skill. So right now it recovers 60% of his HP, but right now it has a cast speed, so it's not instant cast, and you can only use it once per game. However, this gets upgraded to eliminate the cast speed, so it's an instant cast spell, and it gets 2 uses, which basically dramatically increases its availability. So that's a pretty good upgrade in my opinion. The second skill that he gets an upgrade to is the Invincible Shield skill, and what this currently does is that it currently reduces the physical damage taken for 3 times for himself or an ally. You can cast it on whoever you want in this within this range, and it will reduce physical damage by 35% for 3 times. It's basically like the shield of Marchery, the Marchery's TMR shield. That's kind of what it does, but it's only for 1 unit. So what the upgrade for this will do is, right now it's only reducing physical damage, and that is going to be reducing all kinds of damage, basically physical and magical damage. So this is basically a shield that's going to straight up reduce somebody's damage they take by 35%, which is pretty good. I mean, Marchery's TMR is something that I use almost all the time in any kind of manual battle, and the reason I do that is because in in auto battles, the AI just is very hard to use Marchery's shield. But in manual battles, I use it all the time. So this is similar to that, and it also has 2 casts as well. So I think that's a pretty good skill as well. And I've already seen him using the Invincible Shield on auto battles, so I'm pretty sure when he gets upgraded, he will still be using it. Typically, he uses Brave Presence first when he can, if everything is turned on from what I've seen. He uses Brave Presence first, which is kind of what you want him to do, which increases his defense and spirit by 15 and also gives him a lot of hate. After that, if he still is not in range to attack anybody, he then uses Invincible Shield, usually on himself. So I think that's a pretty good AI. The way that it does, like if he uses Invincible Shield first, enemies might not target him because he doesn't have his hate. So I think the way that it's set up is pretty good. And then at the job level 25, he gets a new skill that gives him regen for 3 turns. And it does like 165% damage as well. So I think it's pretty good. I think with this addition, I think the Warrior of Light has basically become the best all around tank, but only if you're looking at a tank as in being able to mitigate damage for you and your team. First of all, his hate skill is, in my opinion, better than King Mont's because his hate skill also gives him 15 defense and spirit, whereas King Mont's hate skill, I'll just go there for a second. King Mont's hate skill Proclamation, it also increases hate by the same amount but increases agility. Now, as I said, a pure tank, I'm defining a tank as in a unit that's capable of keeping himself alive and protecting the allies. So in that strict definition, the Warrior of Light's hate skill is better than King Mont's because it increases defense and spirit, which lets him live longer and tank longer, whereas King Mont's skill gives him more agility. And again, I mean, in the strict definition of a tank, having more defense and spirit is more beneficial than having more agility. If you look at his other skills, actually, let's just look at how I'm using him. So until I had King Mont, Warrior of Light was my main tank, and if you notice, I don't even have Holy Bravery unlocked because I don't even use that. So how I used him was I ran him on the Warrior of Light subjob, which gave me access to Stop Strike, and I maxed out Stop Strike, and that was basically the only attacking skill that I had turned on. Everything else, including Shift Attack, I had turned off. Because what I wanted him to do, I wanted him to survive long enough and get some lucky stop strikes on enemies. At the time, I had his faith up to 97, And usually this actually won me games because stop is such a powerful effect that if I manage to stop anybody, including my opponent's tank, I most of the time have a huge advantage. If not, I outright win the game. And this is mostly in auto battles as well. However, I'm not sure if that is going to be as viable now, simply because to do this tactic, I had to have his faith at 97, and now we have so many more high attack magic damage dealers that will do extra damage to him if he has high faith. So, for example, Yuna will do a lot of damage. Black Rose Halida will do a lot of damage. Garvel, if he's around, will do a lot of damage. And there's the other one, Luel. Yes. So all those four are fairly recent additions, and they all do a ton of damage, magic damage. So if I'm expecting my Warrior of Light to survive them, I can do one of two things. I can either have his, resistances and spirit up to like very, very high levels, like say 90 or 80 or something like that, or I can reduce his faith, basically, right? Because if I'm reducing his faith, he still takes less magic damage. And I mean, I'm not really keen on running him as a high spirit, high magic resist tank, because if I'm doing that, I might as well use somebody better suited for that job, basically Rain. If I'm going to run him as a high spirit tank, Rain would be the go-to person for that, in my opinion. So I typically wouldn't want to be putting such a high spirit on Warrior of Light. So if I'm not doing that, I'm not expecting him to take, a ton of magic damage. So I'll most likely want to keep his faith at 50. So if I'm keeping his faith at 50, that probably means that I will not be expecting to land too many stop strikes. So therefore, I will not be able to run him the way that I've been running. So how will I run him if I am going to be using him? I think he will be the best, all-around tank, just because all of his skills are focusing on survivability and healing himself and reducing damage. So first of all, he casts the skill. He increases his defense by 15. Suppose he gets to cast another buff. He now increases his overall damage mitigation by 35% for 3 hits. If he gets low on health, he can use the Breath of Life, assuming, of course, that he doesn't have anybody else in range to attack. He can use his Breath of Life, and if I'm doing this, I might not even need to bring a healer. Like, I can bring Warrior of Light and 2 other damage dealers, and say I'm in like a Guild War kind of scenario. And in the second attack, the Warrior of Light can use the Breath of Life skill on himself to heal, so he doesn't need Yuna to cast Karaga on him. So, that pretty much works, right? And I do have this magic resist as well. So if I'm not going to be running him as a person that's using Stop Strike, I can instead switch him to Spellblade and use magic resist. But then I need to figure out when is he going to be using this. I'll probably want to figure out a system where he uses the Brave Presence first and then magic resist next. And if I'm going to be doing that, I'll probably want to run like Fenrir Vision Card or something to raise his magic resistance, because that is that would basically be the main advantage of using magic resist over this skill, over Invincible Shield. Because although Invincible Shield reduces damage by 35%, this resist magic is adding 38% over on top of whatever magic resistance he has. So for example, if he already has, say, like 20% magic resistance, now that goes to 58 magic resistance. So he reduces magic resistance, he reduces magic damage by almost 60%. It would be a totally different calculation if he only had 20% magic resist and he was negating damage through the barrier. So there is a difference. I mean, I don't want to go into the math, so I hope you just take my word for it. But basically, like, I can run him as a very effective tank that has tons of ways to mitigate damage. So is he better than King Mont? I guess that is the question that most people want to have answered, and that is basically the title of this video. So yes and no. As I said, he is the best tank for in a strictly tank speaking role. So I'm sure there's going to be content where you're going to fight a difficult boss or something, and you want your team to survive. I am like 80% sure that the Warrior of Light will be able to handle tanking much better than King Mont will in such a difficult scenario. Simply because, as I said, and I've been saying over and over, he has the best kit for it. And even in situations like PvP situations, like auto battles, or even like Guild War or something like that, he is still the best like all-around tank. So if you're building a team where you want whatever tank you have to survive and take all the damage, he might be the best at it. King Mont has a different specialization. He specializes in like debuffing and different things like that. But just to have somebody absorb all your damage, if that's what you are looking for, I think the Warrior of Light will be your best bet. In addition to that, Warrior of Light is only an 80 cost unit compared to King Mont, which is a 100 cost unit. So if you're looking at different content where, like for example, class matches where cost is restricted, then you'd probably want to go with Warrior of Light. That's probably, it's the cost conscious choice if you're looking at content like that. However, for me personally, I like King Mont better because I like having an agile, flexible tank. And I mean, first of all, if you just look at his proclamation skill, it increases agility, which basically lets him get to the enemy faster. He is a faster tank. He is able to move 4, whereas Warrior of Light is only able to move 3. Yes, you can use the Dragoon skill, but he would not use it in auto battles. He can only use it in manual. But just his skill set is able to let me get up close, and he also has jump 2 with this with the ninja passive as well. So move 4, jump 2, he's able to reach faster, he's able to get around faster, he's a lot more agile, and he has a lot of very good, interesting debuffs. So he has the skill that destroys any barriers. He has a chance of inflicting disable. He has slash resistance lowering by 38%. And then he also has under his limit burst berserk effect, which is obviously very, very strong as well. So I prefer a tank like this, especially for PvP. In my opinion, I think this is probably a better version of a tank, although strictly speaking, he doesn't survive as well as Warrior of Light. I still prefer a tank like this that can, first of all, put as much distance, put even more distance between himself and the DPS that's behind him because he has higher movement. And he's able to be a nuisance. Like, he's able to cast a lot of these disable and berserk effects that opponents might have a hard time dealing with. In my opinion, that's a lot better than just having a straight up better tank. So I prefer King Mont. But that's not to say King Mont is strictly speaking better, because as I said, like, if you are looking for a content, or if you're looking for a tank for your needs, that's like, I want this guy to survive as long as possible. I want him to take as less damage as possible and survive as long as possible. In that case, Warrior of Light would win out. So depending on what you need, that would be how you decide which one is better. If you are gonna X both of these, King Mont might not be the situation that you're always going to go for, depending on the team. In both PvP and PvE, because there might be scenarios where you're just like, I just want him to last longer. I just want him to be a good tank. I don't care about the status effects. Maybe whoever I'm facing has resistance to all these status effects anyway, because that happens too. Especially units like 2B. 2B has Berserk and Disable Resist on one of her skills. So I'm not going to say Warrior of Light is useless compared to King Mont. Not at all. I think it's far from that. I think they both have different uses. I think that's the best way of putting it. Now, me personally, am I going to be investing in Warrior of Light? I mean, I already have him at level 99, and with some of the reissue tokens that I'm getting, I should be getting 80 more shards. I already have him in the barracks getting shards. At least I think I do. Yeah, I do. So I'll probably continue to do that. I don't think I'm going to be spending a lot of Vizier to buy out his shards, because that doesn't matter to me as much. Like I don't need to get him in a hurry. I already have him at level 99. Even at like say 115 or something, he's probably going to do great. I don't need that regen to make him work. And as an example, like look at my 9S. My 9S is level 115, and I've already used him in one class match, and I'm planning to use him on the second class match. And in the last class match that I used him, I ranked within the top 10. So I don't need these units to be 120 to get the best use out of them. Even at 115, and being able to slowly take them to 120 is like it's like 95% of the way there almost, unless the 120 skill just like totally makes them or something. At 115 they're working at like 95% of their capacity, which is often okay, you know. So that's basically my review. Yeah, I mean they're both very good tanks. Should you invest in the Warrior of Light? Well, it depends. Like, it depends when you're starting. It depends if you already have King Mont. Because if you don't have King Mont, I would strongly suggest either getting the Warrior of Light or Rain. And if you're a new player, maybe you already have Rain because you got him from the tutorial. And if that's the case, should you go for Warrior of Light? Strictly speaking, he is a lot better of a physical tank than Rain. But it depends on your needs. Like, I mean, I'm assuming your Visior is limited. You're not, a whale that's going to be spending endless amounts of Visior. If you are, then yeah, get everything that you need, right? But assuming that you have a limited stack of Visior, Rain is still a pretty good tank. I mean, of course, he excels as a magic tank, but he still has a ton of HP. You can give him slash resistance through the Siren Esper, and he can function. He can function as a tank. So depends what you want. If you are looking to be within like the top 50 in guild battles, then maybe yeah, you want a separate physical and a separate magical tank. But if you don't, if you are a newer player, just having one unit for a tank is probably okay. You don't need to break your bank and get every single tank, because if you do, I mean, where does it stop? We're continuously going to be getting better and better units. We're continuously going to be getting these EX upgrades for a lot of the existing units as well. So if you're getting both Rain and Warrior of Light, that means you're giving up something down the line, unless you decide to spend and get more Visior through cash purchase or something. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope you find this helpful. And if I wasn't clear, I am not planning to buy shards of the Warrior of Light, but I am planning to slowly raise them with whatever shards I'm given. I'll probably be able to get some from the Chocobo expeditions as well. And yeah, I'm not in a hurry to get him because I personally find King Mont to be better suited to the way that I play. I would like a person that would be able to have more agility, more movement, and more status effects than just being a straight up better tank. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to this. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave them down below. But that's it from me. Take care, guys. Bye.